Hey there, Nerdy Dan here with a review of Season 7, Episode 5, Eastwatch. There are obviously spoilers in this video, so if you have not seen the show, please go watch it now. What are you waiting for? A couple of quick things. I was very amused during the episode that Jaime got back to King's Landing really quickly, and Davos also rode to King's Landing very quickly. The teleportation system of Westeros seems to be working very well. And it probably is going to get faster and faster as we have a shortened season and we have an even shorter next season. So we saw Drogon land after the battle. He made a friend in Jon Snow. Cue Toy Story, you got a friend in me. We have Jon Snow interacting with Drogon, and it seemed to be kind of out of character because the only person that Drogon seemed to really be nice to was Daenerys. So this probably has led a lot of people to believe that Drogon recognizes the fact that Jon Snow has Targaryen blood and as such should be treated as a friend. If that's the explanation or not, I don't know, but it seems to be a valid theory that's going around. You have Arya being sneaky, but Littlefinger is much sneakier. Arya, while she may be no one, and a girl has learned a lot of things, but Littlefinger has a very long history of manipulating the system, and he is not going to let no one get in his way. So, it'll be very interesting to see how Arya reacts to that note, because Arya doesn't know that Sansa basically wrote that note under duress. And if you don't know that the note was the letter that Sansa was basically forced to send to Robb Stark in Season 1, basically asking him to come to King's Landing and bend the knee, well, now you know. Cersei being pregnant is kind of a big deal. It might seem to go against the prophecy of her having 3 children die and then being killed by the little brother. But perhaps an interpretation would be that those first 3 children would die, and then the next one, which would be the little brother, would kill her. So this is, well, let me get to my fan theory in a second. Other people believe that she was lying, trying to mislead Jaime into believing that she was pregnant. I don't believe that is the case. If you caught the lines that Qyburn had told her and she's told back right as Jaime entered the room, he basically seemed to be offering her something and she said that's not necessary. So perhaps he was offering her some sort of medicine that would act as an abortifacient to terminate the pregnancy, and she said no. And I do believe that Cersei is currently pregnant. And what might be interesting, and here's my little conspiracy fan theory, I guess, and I posted a couple of fan theories, and one of them was definitely true, one of them we will see if it becomes true. But if the little brother that she would be killed by is the little brother of the 3 other children who already died, then will that mean that Cersei might die in labor, giving birth to her next child? And furthermore, as I have predicted in my reaction video, what if Cersei and Jaime's child just happens to be a dwarf that winds up killing Cersei just like Tyrion killed their mother? So that is my bold prediction, that she is pregnant, she will give birth to a dwarf, and then that pregnancy will kill her, and she will die like her mother died. So we'll see if that happens, and if I'm right, then good for me, and if not, then I just submitted a fan theory that is just like 95% of most other fan theories, and that is garbage. So I could very well be wrong. But the most important thing, I think, that happened in this episode is obviously when Gilly was reading the books that was written by the Maesters and asked what an annulment was, and then mentioned that Rhaegar had gotten an annulment, and then was subsequently married to somebody else, and obviously that somebody else is Lyanna Stark. Which means that Rhaegar Targaryen married Lyanna Stark, and that Jon Snow is no longer a bastard, but is really Jon Targaryen. And according to the rules of succession of Westeros, he would be the rightful king and heir to the Iron Throne, and not Daenerys. So, how that plays out will be interesting. But I do want to maybe criticize a lot of the fans who are being awfully hard on Sam for not listening to Gilly about what she was talking about and just kind of glossing over it because he could have known, he could have found out who Jon's real parents were and that he's not really a Snow. No. At this point in time in the story, there are only two people who know. Well, one person who definitely knows, which is Bran, and one person who likely knows, which is Howland Reed. Both of those individuals know Jon's true parentage. They know that he was really the son of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen. And they kept the secret because they were afraid of what Robert Baratheon might do if he ever found out. Now, I don't know if Howland Reed knows that they were married. Bran probably knows that there was a moment they were married and that Jon is really Jon Targaryen and not Jon Snow. So, nobody else in Westeros knows this. More than likely. It's very unlikely that anybody else in Westeros knows this at this time. There was no maester at the Tower of Joy, so there would be nobody there to record that the birth took place. Don't even know if there would be anybody to have recorded the fact that she was pregnant in the first place, because it was obvious that they wanted to keep it a secret, and only the knights protecting the Tower of Joy would have likely been entrusted with the secret that they were protecting. So, there was no way that Sam would have been able to know or discern through the information that Gilly gave him that an annulment of Rhaegar Targaryen and marrying a new person would have meant that Jon Snow has different parentage than what he assumed are his real parents, which would be Ned Stark and some unknown woman. So, I think a lot of people are being very hard on Sam and expected way much more than what he would have possibly found out in that situation had he not started complaining about the 1,500 some odd steps were at the Citadel. So, anyway, that's my review. I thought it was a good episode. I was very surprised and happy to see the reveals that they gave. I think it adds a lot more intrigue to the remainder of the story. What do you think? Did you have any other parts of the episode that you thought were really great? Leave your comments in the comment section below, and of course, please subscribe to the channel, and you can also follow me on Twitter at nerdydan.com. Until the next video, just keep watching, and I hope to bring you some more content soon.